Hello and welcome to Quilt Addicts Anonymous. I'm Soebbing. I am back after a long time away. And I'm so grateful to all of you guys who have sent me messages of concern and care as I figured out what is going to be next for Quilt Addicts Anonymous. I'm still figuring it out. But I had a lot to work through in the last year. For any of you who are like brand new to this channel and are like, what is she talking about? I built Quilt Addicts Anonymous from a blog in my 9 by 13 foot sunroom into a really big, influential, internationally known brand. And we did $1 million in sales in 2022. And by August of 2023, I was meeting with a bankruptcy attorney. Our business was primarily based on a subscription club model. And as soon as the Fed started raising interest rates and inflation became more of a daily reality that all of us had to deal with, people just didn't have the extra budget to be able to get 3 yards of fabric a month, especially when like myself and probably many quilters out there, we already have a huge stash to start with. And it's just one thing that you can feel a little guilty about. We just weren't able to continue on in the way that we were. So at that point, we closed up all of our fabric sales. We were just going to continue on with patterns. And then the biggest issue, there were two big issues. One was the business looked like it was quite valuable. Just from the pattern and YouTube standpoint. And so we needed to figure out what was the business worth if I wasn't actively involved in it. And so I needed to stop doing active content for a little while in order to be able to provably show that if I'm not the face of Quilt Addicts Anonymous, there really isn't much to it. It's kind of started that way, but then mental health took a huge dive. And there were several points that I thought were the lowest point. I think my actual lowest point, hopefully, we've only been going up since there, but I think my like drop dead moment was in August, where I was very down and ended up really seeking out some pretty significant help in order to get better. Since then, I got a job that's 20 hours a week. And so it allows me, I'm doing marketing for a great organization with a great mission. It feels good to be working for a place that does such great work and to be able to utilize my skills for that. But it also gives me time and flexibility to be able to be there for my kids, because my husband, who also worked totally within the business, all of our income came from the business. He got a job where, he doesn't get to decide when he's off. He's off when the work is done. And so I overnight went from a very equal parenting situation to me being the primary caregiver to our two kids, who are 10 and 4. And so that's a big job, getting them where they need to go, making sure dinner's ready, all the things. And they're very active kids. They're very busy kids. So it's just a lot to manage. And we're not in a position to be able to afford things like aftercare. It's all me. I got to be done with everything by 2:30 in the afternoon so that I can be with them. My life just changed significantly. But since August, I've really been working very hard on myself. I've dealt with anxiety and depression. Anxiety has kind of just been like a constant. It's just kind of been there. Although I really haven't felt it that much recently. I felt really good in the last few weeks. Depression comes up every once in a while in my adult life. And so I kind of trace things back to where it started when I was 20. And I've been doing a lot of work. Like if I can figure that out, if I can finally heal myself from that, because I know I haven't, then the events that led up to it, then I can maybe move forward and understand more about myself and make positive changes in my life today. And that has really been working. I've been journaling. I've been meeting with my pastor. I have been re-examining a lot of things in my life and how they have been affected by a very traumatic event that happened to me when I was 19, 20. And just how to deal with that finally so that I can move forward here and now today and hopefully not have anxiety and depression be a part of that. Or if it is, be a manageable part of that and not impede me in doing my daily, the things that I want to do for the day. Like getting my hair and makeup done so I can come downstairs and film a video for you guys. And I feel like I finally am at a point where that's not a problem. I am able to really do what I need to do and get ready. Like, it was not a big deal getting ready today to come down here and film, and I'm super excited about it, of being in front of the camera and going over some life update here, and then change my shirt and do some tutorials for you guys. So I'm super excited to be finally moving forward with my life and with Quilt Addicts Anonymous. And so that kind of gets to where we're going next. So what happens next for me in this situation is I can't do a pattern a month anymore. I technically kind of have been. In the midst of all this, I also completely wrote and made all the patterns for my 4th book, which is all about panels. And so that's going to be coming out in August of 2025. And so that's really exciting. My publisher was very gracious with me in extending my deadline so that I could work through some of this insanity that's been going on. But it's done. I finished it on Monday, and I filmed content to go with every bit of this, and that was also really helpful because within the space of like 2 weeks, I was able to film probably 4 months worth of content. I can't put any of it out yet because the book is nowhere near being ready to come out, but it's there, it's waiting for you guys. And if you've ever wondered what on earth am I going to do with these panels, we're going to have the answers for you in this book. So that's a really exciting thing. I'm also going to be teaching on another quilting cruise that I'm really excited about. I am the only instructor on this cruise, so if you want to come with, it'll be super fun. We're going to be doing a project that is all about 60-degree triangles. So I'm super excited, and diamonds. And it looks hard, but it really isn't. Not on my docket for today for filming, but later I am going to do a quick little preview of what that is like, so that way you guys can see what we're going to be working on. But the whole idea is to really take patterns that look super complicated, that have those 60-degree angles in them, and break it down in a way that makes it super easy and a way to accomplish it. And I'm so excited. We're going to Alaska, which is a bucket list destination. If you guys are interested in coming along, the Alaska cruises tend to book up by the end of December. So you'll want to make sure to click on the link in my video description and get some more info about it now and get your deposit in as soon as you can, because not only do the cruises book up, but we only have 23 spots left for sewers. So you want to make sure that you are on that list before either of those things fill up, or you're going to miss out. It's in July of next year, and it is a Sunday to Sunday cruise, so you'll only have to take 1 week off. And we are leaving out of Vancouver, and we're going to be doing some great shop hops in Vancouver and Juneau, Alaska that we're putting together. And I'm also trying to arrange a private textile tour with a museum in Alaska, so that way we can get to see some behind the scenes textiles that they have in their collection. So it's going to be really fun. My kids are coming with me. Hopefully my husband is also coming with me. I should be figuring that out in the next week or so once his vacation is finalized. But if not, then maybe my parents will be coming along with as well to help with the kids. But I'm so excited. It's definitely something you can bring your family on because it coordinates with school holidays really well. And so you can definitely join me with that. But in terms of also what's next for Quilt Addicts Anonymous, I'm going to be focusing more on technique. I have developed a lot of techniques that make my sewing faster and more efficient, and just the things that I've picked up over the years that we're going to do here. And that way you guys are going to be able to really, become better quilters, become better sewers. We're probably not just going to do quilting, because I've also spent the last year feeding my creative juices in other ways, because I needed to find a way, just like I'm, going back to when I was 20 and working through some dramatic events there to help myself today. I needed to get back into sewing and quilting in a way that didn't feel like work. And obviously I was working on the book, but I needed to find a way that felt like leisure to me because, like many of you, I find a lot of mental health benefits just in sitting down and sewing. And so I really slowed things down a lot for myself because so much of my sewing before was done so fast for a deadline. I would, from almost all of the Stashin with Stephanie quilts, within 7 to 10 days, those quilts went from not existing even in my mind to being completely done, pattern written, video tutorial out, kits ready for sale for you guys. And now that we are not going to be focusing on selling fabric, I'm going to be focusing on just the slower parts of things for you guys and the ways to really enjoy sewing as a process instead of just, let's make more quilts, because when you are selling fabric and that is your main source of income, you have to get people to make more quilts. And I still want you guys to make quilts and enjoy making quilts, but I want it to be part of that like mental health journey that I have found. So I've done things like cross stitch. I've taught myself to cross stitch, embroider. I'm still working on that. That's not as good as it could be yet. I'm learning to crochet. I do a lot of knitting. I really enjoy it. And because it's a very portable activity when I'm running around after the kids, I can just bring my I have a go bag that has the current project in it. So, I mean, I've knitted lots of sweaters, socks, you know, you name it, I've done it. Hats, so we're gonna have some fun with that too. And I actually just finished a tutorial with my sister. We're calling it Crossover Craft. It's a new pattern that combines sewing and hand stitching and crochet to make a fun blanket. So this could be a fun buddy project that you can do with somebody who has maybe different crafting experiences than you. But I have really enjoyed the slowing down of it. I've gotten a lot into English paper piecing. A good chunk of that is because of my friend, Chantel Irish, who has with me every Friday night and our Friday night sew-ins. And she's very into English paper piecing. You can follow her on Instagram at So Freaking Awesome. And I did it before. I'd started my Tula Nova, and I had made more progress in the Tula Nova in the last like 6 months than I have in the past 6 years, probably, since it came out, because it's just been a fun thing to do. And I've enjoyed like prepping it and slowing down and all of that. That's kind of what you're going to see from me more going forward. There might be some cooking videos. One of the things that I hear from you guys often is that you're interested in my pressure canning meals in a jar, because that's what I do to make my life easier when I'm running around after the kids and my husband is working till God knows when. And that's how I make my life easy, is on a weekend, instead of doing like the freezer meal prep, I will pressure can everything. So that way all I have to do at dinner is pop a lid, heat it up, and I have dinner. And that works really well for me and for my household, and it tastes really fresh because it was made fresh from really fresh ingredients. And like, I made my tomato sauce from scratch from actual tomatoes, like any good Italian would. And then I canned it, and I can have it anytime I want. And it doesn't have freezer burn. It's good and yummy. So I'm going to be sharing different things, but I'm just going to try to bring you guys shorter videos. This one is actually kind of long, but more technique based, more fun based, more how do we do this as a way to alleviate just the stress of daily life, because we all have that just from our immediate life, and then the world around us obviously adds a lot of stress too. And then we can all be on this little journey to make ourselves better, less stressed, and just slow down and enjoy the process and become better as we work on it. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm feeling really, really good. Last thing I want to say about mental health is if you are feeling like you need help, there are so many people out there who are willing to help you, and you just have to open up a little bit about it. Not everybody is going to know the right thing to say when you open up. There are definitely people who meant well and said the very wrong thing. And then there are people who just are there to listen and to check in on you every once in a while. And that is absolutely wonderful. So find those people and keep them close to you. And the other thing is to really communicate with your physician and your therapist about how you are doing. One of the biggest things for me is I actually was able to, and this is recent, so, you know, everything's a journey, things can change, but I was able to actually get off of my anxiety meds for the first time in 2 years. And I feel so much better without them. I had been talking to doctor after doctor after doctor that since I went on them, I had gone from losing 30 pounds to gaining 60. And it was just steady, steady, steady. And nobody would listen to me because the medication I was on was not one that typically causes weight gain, but it can. And I just happen to be one of the ones that it does. And since I've been off of it, I've lost 5 pounds, which I have not done since I pushed out a baby. And so, you know, it's just a really, and I did that in like a 1 week time span. Just immediately it came off and I lost 5 pounds. And I'm starting to feel not just the feelings of fullness, but also like actual emotions. And I feel like my fire is back. And to like get out there and make things happen for myself and to be able to do things like get back on camera. And I just, that motivation that has been gone for so long is back. It worked and it did absolutely what it needed to do in the original time that I went on it, but I think over time it just became not the right thing for me. And so to be able to have open communication with your physicians, and if you're telling them, hey, this is not working, and they're not doing anything to change it, get a second opinion, because there are options out there for you. There are so many things to try. And, you know, I didn't just get off it and not do anything else. I'm doing a lot of talk therapy, a lot of journaling, a lot of reading to help myself be better without it. And that is probably something I wasn't really in a place to do at the time that I originally went on, but it's a huge win for me, and I'm really happy with where I'm at right now. And I have not felt this good in years, and I'm very excited for it, but just keep at it. Get yourself a good circle who really cares about you, who you can talk openly and honestly with, and make sure you are working with a physician that is listening to you, to where if you say, I don't think this is working the way it's supposed to, that they say, okay, well, let's try something different. And that is my biggest advice to you when you are dealing with this on your own, is get that support system and do the work on yourself. I think this was my thing. Like the second I went on meds, I stopped doing the work on myself, and everything kind of like fell apart in the worst way possible. And some of that was completely out of my control. Like I cannot control the economy tanking my business. You know, it is what it is. But there were many things that I can control better, and that I am doing a much better job of controlling now. And I'm very grateful for the support system I have, for the folks who check in on me, for you guys who check in on me, and I'm very excited to look forward to this next chapter to see what it brings. So with that, I hope you guys are encouraged. I know a lot of you guys have followed my struggles over the past year, and I've heard from a lot of you who have similar struggles. So hopefully this gives you encouragement to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If that's something that you struggle with, that you can get back to yourself, that you can get that fire back. And I've got it, and we're going to see more of me again and more quilting. So that's my life update. Make sure to check out the things that are coming down, especially if you're interested in that cruise. You'll want to make sure to check that out sooner rather than later, just because the cruise itself will book up, and there's a limited number of spots for quilters. But that's all I'm going to say on promo, and we're going to be following this up with actual tutorials and tips and tricks and all the goodies. Not as many projects until we get closer to the book launch, but there will be new patterns coming too, because I'm definitely starting to see that more in my brain again, where that is starting to come in and make me excited about new quilt patterns as well. So until next time, happy quilting.